And we are live. Good evening, Jason. How are you?
I'm doing amazing. How are you doing?
My goodness, I'm doing so well. Thank you. We just saw each other a few weeks ago at the BLN Executive Summit in St. Louis, and time has just flown.
Yes, I know. It's crazy. It's already been a month.
Yeah, I want to welcome you here on the Meticulous Moments podcast, where we facilitate community upliftment through leadership development. And if one thing has become clear to me, when we met and sitting through your presentation and during that summit, is that you're a leader of note. And I'm so happy and thankful to have you here on the show. Now, you and I know each other, we've met, we've talked. And maybe there's someone in the audience that I'm not acquainted with you yet. So I'm just going to read your bio to them.
Perfect.
Perfect. Jason Meland is a former firefighter whose career was cut short after a near fatal electrocution accident. After the fire service, he began pursuing a career in the fitness industry where he grew a gym in South Florida to over 250 members. During COVID, things took a turn and he launched himself fully into the online fitness coaching space where he grew his business to multiple six figures using organic social media in just under 12 months. He is now the founder and CEO of the In Demand Coach, where he teaches coaches how to monetize their message using conversion focused content. Jason has been featured on American Ninja Warrior, ABC, entrepreneur.com, and multiple other publications. Welcome, Jason, so much to the show.
Yes, I appreciate you having me on, and I can't wait to dive in.
Yes. Well, tell me, Jason, I mean, it's evident that you are the social media guru. You know how to format, posts and do marketing. Let's talk all things marketing. Where would you start with someone? Let's say there's someone in the audience that want to start marketing their business more. They're not sure which platforms to use, when to post, what type of content to create. What would you say to someone like that?
Yeah, it's an amazing question, and it's a very, very important question right now because now more than ever, there's just so much going on all social media platforms. Like in fact, a recent statistic that I came across during some research and development is there's over 3,000 pieces of social media content being published every 3 minutes. So you think about it's a vast variety of content just always being published. So I think depends on what the goal of the person is. If the goal is that they want to get attention, they want to get their services, they want to get if they're whether they're a coach or a consultant or a realtor or an author, and whatever it is they're trying, if they're trying to get noticed, if they're trying to get their services, if they're trying to generate leads or interest in what they're selling, what I would say, and quite frankly, this is something that I learned. I learned a while back when I was actually going out to be on the show American Ninja Warrior.
Yes.
You see, kind of a long story short, but I'll tell you how like I discovered this, and I think it'll be super helpful for everybody here to put some
Yeah.
context into like really how to succeed and how to stand out and how to get your stuff noticed this day and age in today's marketplace. Well,
Yes.
I remember like we had just invested into franchising our gym, right? We had between myself and a new investor down in South Florida, we had invested about $80,000 total into franchising our gym concept, which was very popular at the time in South Florida. And a few months in, we realized we made a bit of a mistake. Like we just weren't ready. And so like I was out there selling franchises, our gym
Yes.
systems and stuff weren't really ready. And so we started to lose members because I wasn't there all the time, and we are getting complaints, we are getting refunds, and it was just a nightmare. And I remember like being like so freaked out and like, man, like trying to jump in my gym, trying to fix some things up. And during that time, my wife was actually pregnant with my 6-year-old now who's out there. And
Yeah.
um, it was about it was February 2017, and I was in the middle of trying to fix my gym. I had to take out a lot of loans and credit cards, so we
Mm.
were about 45K in debt between all of that just to keep the business afloat. And I remember like sitting in the hospital bed the the day my daughter was born, or like in the hospital room rather, and just feeling like super like in love and excited, but then also at the same time like freaking out and stressed because I was like, I have no money. Like what am I supposed to do? And so I
There's a
remember like,
baby.
yeah, and I was like, I have a baby, and then I'm like, I'm broke. Like, what am I gonna do? And so I remember like sitting in my truck a few days after we got out of the hospital, and I was in front of my gym parking lot. I remember
Yeah.
just like sitting there in tears, just crying and like just like feeling like a failure, a loser. And I was staring at myself in the rear view mirror, and you know, at the time I was just like, something's got to change. Like I don't want to be like this to this kind of father. I want to be able to provide. I want to be able to lead. Um, and the thought occurred to me, you know, I wanted to get onto American Ninja Warrior for like 8 years. It was a dream of mine, but I was kind of like, never did it. I just never went out for it. You know, I was always too scared. So I was like, I'm gonna do it, right?
Yes.
So this leads me to discovering this big epiphany. So in going out for the show, think about this like social media. You have to submit a 3-minute video to NBC, and their producers will like, out of like tens of thousands of people, they will choose about 100 people, right? And so
Oh,
it's very hard to get on. And so I remember through a friend of a friend, I got the email of a producer for the show. And I had some email exchanges with him back and forth. And graciously, he offered to get onto a call with me. And I remember on this call, he gave me some like golden nuggets, which I could share with everybody here today. And it forever changed my business, and it forever changed like the trajectory of my life, because a lot of these things that he taught me to stand out and to actually get chosen for a national television show like that, I applied some of that same stuff in my content, in my marketing, even in person, even like doing in-person networking events and speaking events. And so I was able to apply these kind of principles throughout. And you know, our gym ended up growing up to about 298 members actually. And I was able to like use these skills in online fitness. And now I'm teaching them. Now I have mastery over them over the last, you know, 6, 7 years, and been able to teach this stuff to others. And so that there was a lesson in there, and it was about how to stand out amongst a sea of other people that are doing what you're doing or talking about what you're talking about. And
yeah.
one of the pieces of advice that I can give for somebody that's like, what social media, what platforms, like, how do I generate lead? What's the best content? What's the best?
Yes.
The first thing I'd say is we gotta dial in your message and your
Mm,
story. Your
yeah.
message and your story. Those are the
Yes.
two places to start, and I can unpack those if you want.
Please, I would love that. That is phenomenal, and the audience is listening, and I know there's people out there that know they can create better content, and that have to, they want to scale and increase their social media following. Please unpack that for us.
Yeah, so the first thing you got to understand, especially like when you're competing against, again, the statistic of 3,000 pieces of posts are published every 3 minutes. The first thing that we got to do is like, we all have a message, right? We all have something that we're trying to put out to the world, whether we're selling a product or a service or a coaching program or a course or books or whatever it may be. And so, what I found to be true is we have to be able to come up with like the very specific. We got to speak to one person, especially at the
Mhm.
beginning. Obviously, there's different levels to this depending on where somebody is in business. But let's just
Yeah.
say you're at like more of the beginning stages of
Mhm.
business. Like, you want to speak to one person, and you want to be able to have a deep understanding of
Mm.
what are the pains, like the literal present moment things that they're going through. For example, like 5 minutes before you do a video, 5 minutes before you write a post, 5 minutes before you are doing any kind of marketing, what is that person going through? What are their thoughts, right? When you have that level of clarity and specificity on the pain and
Mm.
in the present moment symptoms that somebody's in, it's easy to speak to that person, right? Then you want to
That's
know
it.
like, what actions are they taking currently to try to solve that problem? What are they already doing? If you know what they're already doing, that's another thing that you could speak to. And then here's the
Yes.
big one. What do they believe to be true? Why, like, so say they're taking an action. For example, I come from the weight loss space prior to marketing. And in the weight loss space, say somebody was in pain, they wanted to lose weight, right? And they were trying all different diets, right? We'll just throw out that. And they believed that they had to eat on diets to lose weight. So their belief was that I have to eat on diets to lose weight. We're not going to say there's right or wrong or anything like that. We're just saying that's the current paradigm. That's what's going on in their head. That's why they're doing the action to try to solve that problem.
Yeah.
So having that understanding on exactly what they're doing is step one, right? Step two is then the polarity of that is obviously understanding what they really want. What is the external outcome that that person wants, right? Do they want to be a published author? Do they want to look attractive again? Do they want to feel attractive again? Do they want more clients? Do they want more? Do they want to sell their house? Do they want to buy a house? What is that specific outcome that they want? When you get really, really clear on that, now you have steps one and steps two down, right? Step three is where you really make a difference. Step three is where you start to come up with your unique solution. What is the unique solution that you can provide? So for an example, in the health and fitness space, let's say somebody helps people lose weight. Well, everybody in the health and fitness space is going to say, I help people with workouts, with nutrition, and with their mindset. Pretty general, right? Like everybody does that. So how do you stand out amongst that? And we can use this example for the real estate industry. We can use this example for authors. We can use this example for literally any industry. It's like, if you think about it. And so how do you stand out? Well, you have to name something that's a unique solution, right? For example, I'll give you two examples from when I was in the fitness space. We had the stubborn fat solution. It was our unique methodology to how we help people lose weight, right?
Oh, yeah.
Our process now, we call it the in-demand method. We teach people how to become in demand in their sub niches, in their niches, right? So you have to have something so that it gives people hope, right? It's like people have an understanding of, okay, right? And then what you want to have underneath that is a belief. You want to have like a new belief, which is often going to be our opinion as the entrepreneur, as the business owner, as the coach, as the author, as the whatever it is that you do. We typically we know what to do, hence why we are the expert, right? And so our prospective client or customer, they don't know what to do. That's why they're making these mistakes. That's why they have these false beliefs. And so when we can have a new belief that we can help plant into their mind, this is what starts getting people to think, right? And this is why the number, and you could, if you're listening, you can write this down. Like the number one sell that you have to make before it's your product is the belief of your message, the belief of your brand.
Interesting. Awesome.
For example, I can give an example on this. Let's say, so my belief is that my personal belief, okay, this is the real power, and I want everybody to take this. What I believe and what you believe may be completely different, and that's normal. We're human. So what you believe and what your prospective client believes may be different. It doesn't matter. Our epiphanies are our own epiphanies. I believe that you shouldn't post content every day. I believe that you should be more strategic and set up systems and processes to create predictability. That's my belief from my experience. And so I will go out there and I will polarize that, like, if you're posting content every day, you're doing it wrong. You're working way harder than you need to. That instead you should do strategic content creation. You should think ahead and set up a system, a structure, so that you're able to do less work at less output, but still get the same input coming in, aka leads, sales, clients, right?
Yeah.
And so that's my belief that I'm essentially the attorney behind inside of my audience, and as an example.
I love that. I like the way how you work with your system. You identify their need, you identify their problem area, and you solve it for them in an acceptable manner according to the way that they think. But during the process, you are reprogramming them in a positive manner to think in a new light, to approach social media in a new viewpoint. And it's true what you are saying, we do have different viewpoints on so many things.
Yes.
But we can always find middle ground. And the moment that, we address a problem for someone in a unique manner, like you do, that's the moment that we start to make them think a little bit further than their normal reach of thought, further than their normal reach of beliefs. And their eyes start to open and they see, well, this is a trusted method, it's a proven method. Here is the content, form and shape and make it what you are. Make it your own. And I think that's very important in social media, Jason. You know that content has to, and you said it right in the beginning, and I believe that as well. You are your content, you are your message. I said at the
Um,
BLN when you and I were on the business panel with Brent Stone and the other individuals, I said, your logo is not your business. You are
yeah.
your business. Your logo is not your brand. You are your brand, your belief system. How do you carry yourself? What do you project over to the audience that's following you? I did not know that there are so many posts every 3 minutes. That's
Yeah.
astounding. That's a
Well,
false.
a lot of it comes also from like the short form content boom where it's like it's really easy to create content now. Anybody can do it. You don't need to have fancy equipment. You don't need to have so I think because of the ease of creating content, people do it so
Yeah.
easily, right? And that's why there's so much. But even what you're saying, like if you think about even the biggest brands in the world, they have representatives that are now on social media representing the brand because people buy people, right? They want to
That's
buy
it.
the story, they want to buy
That's it.
the people don't want to do business with the big brands. They don't, they want the person, they want to see the person. So even if it's like not you as the person, right, somebody has to be the person, otherwise you're leaving a lot on the table.
That's it. You have to be the person. You have to take the lead. I wanted to ask you about the following because businessmen get busy. Of course, we need virtual assistants, and they make posts for us, and that's a beautiful thing. It's part of the art of delegation. How should an entrepreneur or someone out there that has a business that's posting content, how can they make sure that their posts are still putting over their message to the audience, that it doesn't get lost and that it doesn't start to sound and look and feel like the assistant that's creating the post? How do they make sure, how do they safeguard that? I like to create my own content because there's a certain
Yeah.
way that I speak, there's a certain way that I talk, there's certain colors that I use, and a certain way that I approach life, and that shines through in my content. If someone is really high level and they're very busy and they have these assistants working for them, which is a good thing. I really believe in the delegation part of having a business and part of scaling, your business, of course. How can they make sure that essence, that passion, that drive still comes through on that social media post?
Yeah. I think it's going to depend on the specific industry and the specific goals of the business.
Yeah.
Like I could say like in our business, like content is what drives our sales. So for us, it's like a very high priority. And so like we actually have like this is what I do for a living. I myself build out content systems for other brands.
That's it.
And so like for me, it's like like in this case, like content is what drives the revenue, and that's the goal. Is like we use content to essentially sign up clients, right? And so if that's the goal of the business owner, then delegating content to me is it, it, I mean, it's just something that shouldn't be done. You even look at like people like we'll just throw out random names of people that are like in the space, but like Tony Robbins or Grant Cardone or Mel Robbins, or like they produce their own content, and then they have people maybe repurpose stuff like from their videos, but it's them creating it. So I don't
Yeah.
think it's something that should be delegated if you're trying to grow a brand, if you're trying to generate sales, you know, um, and that's just from like organic type content, right? Now, if you're running ads, I still have the same opinion. I don't think you should ever delegate. Like to me, you can have I've had copywriters in the past, but
Mm-hmm.
even if they write my copy, I'm still going in and like making it. I'm still tweaking it, making sure it's my language.
Yeah.
Um, you know. So when it comes to content, when it comes to producing, it has to come from your message. And the thing is, again, it comes down to goal, right? and it will
Yes,
come down a little bit to industry on the specificity of what to do. But like, if you're trying to grow a brand and generate sales, your content has to come directly from your unique messaging
that's
for
it.
it to work. Uh, and I like to explain the unique messaging and utilizing of the content, kind of like a great analogy is like, think about your favorite musician,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then think about an amateur musician. So an
Mm.
amateur musician is going to be like, what instrument should I play? Should I play the guitar? Should I play the bass? Should I play the flute? Should I do a cappella? Should I do the ukulele? Right? Where the professional, like successful musician is like, let me first create the hit song,
Yes.
and then I can play it no matter what. It's going to sound amazing because they have the right tonality, they have the right words, they have the right emotional adjectives in there. The same thing is true with our our marketing. When we take the time and we craft great marketing messaging, then
Yes.
we can apply it to content, we can apply it to ads, we can apply it to speaking. Like, I am speaking my message. You can come and speak it. You could do it wherever, and it stays on brand, and it has this nice cohesion to where everything that you say, no matter where, like you can go to my personal Facebook page right now, which is where we do most of our marketing. You can go look at an ad of mine. You could go on my email list. You can go to my YouTube. You can go wherever, and you're gonna find I speak the same messaging no matter
Yes.
where I am. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? And that's where I think there's a lot of power when it comes
That's it.
to content marketing and just marketing in general.
I believe so. I believe so. And I commend you on, I had the privilege of hearing you speak. And you are a phenomenal public speaker. And there is
Thank
a
you.
certain way that you speak, in a certain way that you bring across that energy. And I agree with what you're saying when you are putting that content out there and branding, especially when you're branding the whole time, because that's what you have to do. It has to become a household name. Brand, 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 and put the same message out there so that people can become accustomed to who you
Well,
are, what your energy is like. I'll know if you didn't create a post. If I go onto your page, I know the way you talk, I know the way you communicate. You're a great communicator and speaker. I will know, but you don't do that. You create your own content like I do. As long as the content is from you, the person, the business owner, the goal achiever, the other tinkles and bells can be added by someone else. Of course, that's also possible.
yeah, and you said something that I think a lot of people have like uh, some limiting beliefs around. Where you said household name, and from my experience, like, now, again, it's gonna come down to what you sell. If you're selling like a $5 kind of widget, you probably need to become a household name to have massive success. But like, if you think about most businesses that are selling something that's like, medium ticket or high ticket, if they have a nice ascension ladder, whatever the model is, you don't need to become a household name really. You just have to become known in your niche or your sub niche, right? Like how I did it in South Florida. So when I started a gym, you can see this applies to different industries, brick and mortar, online. But like when I started my gym, I made the concept super unique on purpose. Like I don't know how I think this is a gift that like God's given me or something. I don't know. I just have this like knack for like making things
Definitely.
unique. Yeah. And so I made my gym unique and I carved out, so there was already like boutique gyms. I carved out a sub niche within boutique gyms. So it was like a niche within a niche. It's like inception niching.
I like
And
that.
I did the
Niches.
same thing. Yeah. It's a niche inside of a niche. Um, but and I that's what I've done online. I did that in the online fitness space. I've done that in the online marketing space. So me, like I'm very niched into like brand messaging and positioning and building
Yes.
conversion content systems. People don't hire me for anything else besides that because I've niched down and I'm really good at what we do, getting people driving sales through content, through communication. And so I think
That's
anybody here can take that, and because your niche is going to be massive, right? So if you're trying to post
Mhm.
content and trying to become known in your niche, these niches these days are now are pretty big, for the most part.
Mhm. Big
And so like,
concept. Yeah.
yeah, and so if you could find a way to create a niche within a niche and kind of branch yourself apart, And that comes through your unique way of getting people results. And
Yeah.
it's a journey, you know, like I don't think we all come up with it right away. It's something that we have to kind of like just sometimes do things. And as we do things, we discover more and more about ourselves and how we can help people. And, you know, we kind of figure things out.
That's it. That's it. A niche within a niche. I love that. That is unique. Absolutely unique. And the way that you approach this, you're very passionate about it. You're very passionate about it, Jason, and that's a key factor as well. You know that when people feel that you really believe in what you're doing, you believe in what you're posting, and you mentioned something earlier, and I don't think it's always a good thing. You mentioned that's why there's so many posts every 3 minutes. It's so easy today to create a post, but there's so many posts out there that I scroll, and sometimes I think, my goodness, that was just like a 2 minute. It wasn't thought over. It was just there. And I really think we need to zone in on the fact that less is more.
Yeah.
Rather put out good content, things that you think over, something that's a theme for you for a month, or a theme for you for a program that you're rolling out. And don't be too sporadic with the thoughts that you're putting out there. People want to process that, they want to digest that, they want you to build the puzzle for them about what you're saying. And standing out, like Jason Meland. Oh, I know that guy. He's the social media guru. Or Juanita Kapp. Oh, I know her. She has that podcast, with the vibey music. Or that is where we really discover the niche within the niche, when we sit down ourselves and say, okay, so this is what I do. There's a lot of social media marketing professionals out there. But what makes Jason Meland so special? He knows how you can create the content, post it at the right time on the right platforms, discover your niche within your niche. Those are the things that make you stand out. There's a lot of podcasts out there. What is the niche? Oh, Meticulous is more about leadership, gratitude, and community upliftment. Oh, so that's why I listen, because it's developing personal, professional development. So I love the fact that you brought that to the table. Thank you so much. And I also want to ask you, Jason, we want to learn more about you as a person. You were a firefighter. You went through an event. Would you like to share how that has shaped you in your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, and I think this could be a powerful moment too for everybody, because let's face it, we all go through ups and downs and adversities, and we all go through stuff in our lives that like knock us down. You know, maybe you're there right now, maybe you'll be there eventually because it's part of the human experience, I believe.
That's it.
And
Yeah.
um, you know, it was 2009, November 28th, 2009, and we were responding to a what we thought was a routine house fire. And so I was in the fire engine and sirens blazing. We're going and getting my air pack on and all the stuff that we did as, on the way to a fire. And then as we're on the way, the dispatcher comes across and says the house is, they call it fully involved. Fully involved just pretty much means there's flames everywhere. And so
Oh, my
when we
gosh.
get on scene, they were like, "Oh, by the way, we just got a report. There's two brothers trapped inside the structure." And so I was the lead fireman, and so I made entry with my partner, and I had the hose line, and I was spraying out hot spots, and our main priority was rescue, so we weren't really trying to put out the fire; we were just hitting hot spots.
Yeah.
And part of the protocol is they shut off electricity before firefighters enter the house. However, this particular house, the people that lived there, they had a long extension cord, and they were stealing electricity from the neighbor's house. And so, because they didn't pay their bill, and so the house was still live with power. And so literally, I was making my way looking for a doorway to try to find these two brothers. There's smoke everywhere, visibility was super low, and I was in a puddle of water just because we're spraying, right? And my hand hits this like this electrical outlet, and it sent this shot. It went through me, like it went through here, and it shot out my back, and it hit my partner as well. Um, and I just remember kind of waking up in like a daze, like everything was like kind of like, you see how like my camera is like daisy right now. It's like everything was like a daze.
Yeah.
And they threw me in the back of the ambulance and they rushed me off to the hospital. And I was in there for 3 days, 3 nights. They had to like pump, like it essentially shriveled up my liver and kidneys so much they had to pump fluid in to keep them up. Otherwise, they were going to shut down. And I remember this like it was yesterday. I remember the doctor. He was like an older gentleman with white hair and uh, kind of like fatherly figure-ish. And he like kind of looked down at me and he was like, "Son." At the time, I was 53 pounds overweight. I wasn't taking care of my mind, my body. He said, "Son, you're way too young to be this out of shape and unhealthy." And it was
Yeah.
like a moment that really shook me. And it was one of the days, it was in that moment where I had committed myself to just becoming better. Just, I wanted to become better. And I think it's a moment for us all to kind of like look in and be like, where are opportunities in our lives, right? Like that's what one of the things that shaped me was just like, let's just become. I didn't have a big goal. I wasn't like I want to be the fittest person in the world. No, I was just like I just want to be better. I just want to treat myself better. And it led me to this whole personal development journey, right? Of like bettering my mind, bettering my body, and it's led to so many opportunities. So that's something for you to listen in right now. It's like, where's an area in your life, mentally, physically, spiritually, like where can you kind of level up? Where can you? Because we don't want to wait for that electrical shock. We don't want to wait for that moment to hit us, right? To where it's like, oh crap. There's a
Yeah.
saying that I love, and this is I feel like is what happened to me, where uh I think it's maybe a passage from the Bible or something, but it's like first God throws a pebble at you to try to wake you up. Then if you
Mhm.
don't wake up, he throws a rock. And if you still don't wake up, he throws a freaking boulder. Sometimes we get hit with the boulder and that causes us to change. Yeah. And so don't wait for the boulder. Don't wait for the boulder. If you're getting hit with pebbles and rocks right now, like wake up. It's your
Yeah.
time.
That's the truth. That's the truth. I love that. I love that illustration. It speaks to all of us. It speaks to all of us because sometimes we are very much more aware of the things that we have to work on than we would like to admit. We like
Yeah.
to keep busy and not think about it. Those things are still there and we still have to work on them. And I have to say, Jason, all of us have something that we can do better. And I'm thinking of myself. There's many things that I'm still working on, and that just spurs us on to do better every day. And I wanted to ask you, leadership. I love talking about leadership. I want to ask you about leadership. How do you view leadership? Was there a specific person in your life that impacted you as a leader?
Yeah. Well, I look at leadership as, I mean, probably multiple viewpoints. One of the ways that I kind of perceive the word leadership is just being the example. You know, um, I believe that like every one of us here have like a natural gift and a natural talent. I know some in some cultures they call it dharma. Sometimes they call it purpose.
Yeah,
There's different ways to kind of view it, but I believe all of us have this like kind of natural message, this natural purpose, this natural gift. And I do believe all of us have the potential to be a leader to somebody, right? Whether it's an organization, whether it's a family, whether it's a church, whether it's a nonprofit. And so I look at leader as like how like are you setting the example all the time? Like what are you doing when nobody's watching? Are you still leading? Like are you leading yourself? Are you leading because if you can't lead yourself, then you're sure as heck not going to be able to lead anybody else, you
that's
know?
it.
Yeah.
I love that. And that's true. It starts with us. It really starts with us. We have to be accountable to ourselves. And when we lead others, we are accountable to others as well. I remember, in the years in corporate that I worked, that it's so important as the team leader. You have these people that you're shaping into a team, you're shaping them into better leaders, and you are responsible for them. Of course, they're responsible for their own actions and their own choices, but at the end of the day, you are there to guide them. And I always tell people do that in love, be accommodating always, be open for people to talk to you and also treat people with dignity. It's
Right.
very important that we treat each other with dignity. And, here I love to talk about gratitude as well. I'm so grateful for the things, the good and the bad things that have happened in my life because they've really shaped me. I've learned so many lessons about myself and life and others. And I wanted to ask you if you had to pick one or two things, even more, what are you grateful for today as we sit here in this interview at this very point in time?
Yeah, I would say, and it's probably maybe counterintuitive, but I am grateful for setbacks. You know, I believe like without the setbacks, it's hard to like find gratitude. You know, like I know there's something I call the pinprick. It's the pinprick frame, and so the pinprick frame is like for example, like I've had a really challenging time to like feel grateful. Not that I'm not like I'm a very positive, very grateful human, but I've had a challenging time in my life and my experience to feel it. Like when people are like just feel grateful, I'm like I'm like oh I'm trying, right? I'm like I don't right? And so something that I had to do, and I had the help of a mentor help me with this a long time ago. But it's like when you get like a pinprick or like, and you're like that was that hurt a little. It wasn't like terrible, but that's not comfortable. So when I'm like really thinking, I'm like, okay, let me think of the pinprick in my mind. So like I'll think about, oh man, you remember that setback that I had last year? And then instantly I'm just like, whoa, I'm so grateful for where I'm at now. You remember, and I could be like, man, you remember just a few years ago you were negative 45K in debt, and now I'm like, now, dude, like look at where you're at now. And so like I
Wow.
call it the pinprick to where it's like it's not like super traumatic where you're going back, but you're just like looking at something that was kind of a setback, and now you're
Yeah.
like, look at where I am today. And usually you're going to be better off than where you were during the setback. So it's a great little frame that works for me.
I love that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's apply that the next time we feel disgruntled. We'll create a moment like that. And, Jason, you have an exceptional personality. You work very well with people. And the way that you carry yourself is also commendable. And I want to ask you, because you love to smile and to, make people smile and bring upliftment. What makes you happy? What brings you joy in life?
Yeah, it's a great question. Um, I think like most visionary type entrepreneurs, it's just like creation. It's
Yeah.
it's it's moving towards a vision. Um, and so when I'm working towards that, I feel like really, really fulfilled, which brings happiness. My family, my kids definitely
Yeah.
bring happiness. And speaking, like doing things
Mm.
like this,
Yeah.
um, like I think the thing that like really makes me like kind of like happy, like tear up, is I love watching, I love seeing somebody that has a message inside of them, that like they know that what they could say can help people, right? They
Yeah.
know they have something that can help people, but they just don't. They're either too scared to put it out there. They're not sure what to do. I love it, like no, this is one of the things that I probably why I do this for a living, but it brings me so much happiness to experience somebody
Yeah.
being able to put their message out into the world, and to see them not only build a business around it, but also be able
Yes.
to create change. And when I see somebody like in our community that's like, hey, not only am I now doing six figures in my business, but I've transformed now 50 women's lives. I'm just like, whoa, that, that is ultimate like fulfillment to me, for
Yeah.
sure.
What brings you joy is to make others happy and to bring that community upliftment. And that's why I knew you were going to be an amazing guest here at Meticulous. And I want to ask you if the audience members can follow you. How can they support you? Are you running any programs at the moment? How can they get involved with your wonderful coaching? Where can they reach out to you?
Yeah, so I'm pretty active on my personal Facebook page. Like, I'm sharing a lot of content in there, and I'm primarily helping people that are looking to get their to learn how to monetize their message. That's kind of like what we do. I also have a podcast, which, I'd love for you to be a guest on. It's called The School of Impact.
I'd love to. Thank you.
So if somebody's on Facebook, they can go to my Facebook page. It's kind of where I'm more active on. And if you love listening to like long form content like this, then, you could find the School of Impact podcast in, anywhere, YouTube, Apple, Spotify.
Obviously, you are on all of those because you know what you are doing. So, thank you so much. You have been a wonderful guest, Jason. I want to ask you if you have any message for the audience. What do you want to leave them with before we close off this wonderful, edifying, and informative session?
Yeah, so you do have a message inside of you, and right now your message matters more than it ever has in, I believe, the history of the world. Like, there's so many people that are out there that are literally suffering, right?
Yes.
More than they probably need to. There's people that are depressed. There's people that are eating too much, drinking too much. There's people that are just going through life at a much lower level of consciousness than they really need to be. And I believe that each one of us, whether it's going to be a big impact, small impact, whatever it is that you desire, believe that you have a message, and that message contains a light. It contains a beacon of light that can help spread out as you speak it into the darkness. So whether you're speaking for a local community, whether you're just out there helping your family, whether you're out there leading an organization, whether you're writing books, however you can get your message out there, I believe that it is your duty. It is your duty. It is your right as a human to be able to take the setbacks, to take the experience, to take the failures, to take the epiphanies, to take everything that has led you up to this point of your life and to share it with others, to spread it. I believe that collectively, the more people that kind of get onto that wavelength and do that, the better the world will become, the better each one of us will become, and the better I said world, but we'll throw another word, planet, will become.
Yes, let's make the planet better, a better place. Let's change lives. I agree with you. I absolutely agree with you. And I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for being such a wonderful friend, for being such an amazing entrepreneur, fellow BLN member, and such an amazing guest here on Meticulous. There's someone that listened into this podcast this evening and the dots connected. They had that penny drop moment and they are going to apply that. So thank you for making the time, Jason. I appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me on.
Thank you so much. We're going to continue to network with you and cheer you on. And Meticulous Moments audience, reach out to Jason. You have his social media links. They're also listed here on this live. And let's just continue to make the world a better place. Thank you so much, Jason.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, my name is Jose Escobar, and I'm the founder and CEO of the Connected Leaders Academy. We're the #1 fastest growing community and tribe of some of the highest level entrepreneurs all around the country and around the world. We're in 36 states across the U.S., in 11 international countries, and over 240 plus members growing every single day. And I'm honored, excited, and I'm glad to say that I'm proud to be the official sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast with Juanita Kapp. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm excited for this journey.
Hello, my name is Jonathan Ellis. I'm from the Thought-Provoking Change community. I am honored and humbled to be a sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast brought to you by the one and only Juanita Kapp. It is such a joy and privilege to be on this journey with you, and I look forward to seeing where it takes not only Meticulous Moments, but also Thought-Provoking Change. Looking forward to this partnership. You're a great person with a great podcast.
Hey everybody, my name is Patrick Rude. I'm the owner of Rude Financial Services, a proud sponsor of the Meticulous Moments podcast, hosted and directed by the beautiful, strong, and intelligent Juanita Kapp. I cannot tell you enough about what this woman has done with this podcast and the effect that she has had on me and all of the other sponsors and people that listen. Don't miss it.